Welcome to the Startup Guest Talks. On this episode, I'm going to welcome Dimitris Dimosiaris, co-founder at Founderhood. So, welcome, Dimitris.
Glad to be here, Thanos.
Happy to see you.
It's been a long time. Yeah.
It's been a very long time. So, tonight we're going to have the opportunity to talk about Founderhood. But first of all, I'm going to start with some quick questions in order to learn more about you, as I don't know anything. So, first of all, let's start with coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Android or iOS?
Oh, Android.
Teams or Slack?
Slack.
Open source or?
That's a difficult
license?
question. I'm a fan of open source, but yeah, we have a licensed product, so it's difficult.
Solo founder or a team?
Team, always.
Okay, so let's start. Tell us more about what is Founderhood and what brought you, with that idea to develop this platform.
So yeah, Founderhood is a platform that we work with incubators and accelerators, to assist them on their daily operations, make them more efficient, and also bring all their stakeholders in one place. So that's in a nutshell. And how I started, with this whole thing. I used to be, in university, and there in engineering school. I wanted to build stuff. That's why I went to engineering school. And there, I wanted to build something, and we didn't build anything at the engineering school. So that's why I started getting involved with the startup ecosystem, with everything around that. So I joined some organizations that had to do with innovation and entrepreneurship inside Greek universities. And from there, I saw, how it's to organize stuff for new entrepreneurs, new startups, new people who want to build products. But at the same time, I always wanted, I was trying to build my own thing, my own product with teams, etc. So I saw the problem from both ways. And the thing that I also saw and witnessed in this organization was that, here in Greece, we are in a very mature innovation hub. And when you go, to a mature hub like London, like in the US, the big ones like San Francisco, Boston, etc., like you see how many more, opportunities the people have there. And I always want to do something like that, to assist, people who come from every part of the world to have much more opportunities like the people who are based there. And based on the experience that I had, both in these organizations, and I was lucky to find some other people who had similar aspirations and similar experiences and backgrounds, we created, Founderhood, because the big vision is to create a global innovation ecosystem that every startup, from everywhere will have access to that. And we started with this product that right now is for incubators and accelerators, but we like to add all the innovation stakeholders in the future and build different products for investors, for corporates as well, for governments, and bring them all in one place. So that's the big one.
So what's the solution that Founderhood brings to the market right now?
So yeah, right now we are working, as I mentioned, within incubators and accelerators. So we help them run all their operations. And we have 4 main products. We have one product that has to do with how you can manage and evaluate applications. The second product has to do with what happens after you select the startups to go through the main part of the program, how you can create a community there, how you can run workshops, etc. So that's the second one. The third one is what happens after the program ends with the alumni and all that stuff, the management, how you can create a community with both the people and the startups who go through the cohorts and the people who are in the alumni. And the fourth one, we call it like data and around the organization, where we bring in one place all the data that runs across the organization. So that's the fourth product. So that's what we offer to them. And of course, in this product, they can bring all their stakeholders, their startups, their mentors, their experts. And you as an organizer, you can monitor, everything that's happening across all the stages of your organization. So that's in the program. That's in a much more detailed way, what happens in the product.
Okay, so what are the main problems that this solution brings to the customers, actually to incubators and accelerators?
So yeah, usually a typical incubation program and acceleration program, they use quite a lot of tools, to manage right now the processes. Like they use a different tool for the application part. Like they usually use a lot of other tools to do the evaluation part. They use a lot of emailing. And then when the program starts, they also use other products like Slack for the community, forms for feedback. They use Zoom or other stuff, to run their sessions. So everything is in a lot of different places. And this is a mess both for the organizer, but also for the startups, for the mentors, the experts, everyone who is involved around their programs. So that's the biggest problem that they have, and we come to solve. We can bring all of these in one place. We can make them much more efficient. And also, the UI, the UX, the whole experience that everyone has when they get and they go through the program is much more fluent, much more easy to navigate, etc. So it's both efficiency and also the experience that you have after that. And as an organization, is also how you can do the reporting and all that stuff after the program ends to your fundraisers, to the people who have given you funding, etc., to your funders. So that's the three things if you have them all in one place.
So how big is the market? How many are the incubators, accelerators, the customers that you are right now focusing on?
Yeah, it's quite a niche market. Like we have estimated that all the organizations in the world that they run incubation acceleration programs, they are estimated around 10,000. So it's very niche market. Like in Europe, we have found around 4,000 organizations like that. And yeah, that's a little bit about Europe. That's the same also for the US. There are also around 4,000 organizations that run startup programs. And then the rest of the world has pretty much the same number. So that's the total number. So very niche market as well.
So are there any other, let's say, competitors? Are there any other players in this game?
So there are a few of them, but very few. Actually, the largest percentage of the market is occupied by products, like as I mentioned at the very beginning, 10 different products like Airtable, HubSpot, XSS for this stuff, or usually either they don't have anything or they use something for the community like Slack or all this stuff, or for the alumni and different products. So there are a lot of different products right now on the market which are not specifically for these kind of programs. They are generally to do stuff, forms or community or mentor, stuff like that. So this is the biggest part of the market right now that we see. Is not other competitors like us.
What do you think is the most competitive advantage that you see that brings value to the customers?
So yeah, the very first one that we see, like in everyone who interacts with our product, either in a demo or when they go and they use it, is they think how easy it's to do stuff inside that, like the whole UI, UX, like you can navigate very easily, you can find what you are looking for, you can build the stuff you like to. So that's usually the very first one that they see. And then the second, I would say, is the functionality that exists right now. Like you can do pretty much everything that an organization or an incubator or an accelerator is pretty much having, on their daily workflow from their start of the programs until the end of it, and then what happens also after their programs. So yeah, it's both functionality and the usability of it.
So as we talked about, what the customers love. So how big is the game right now? How many customers are on how many programs you have hosted in? So share some more info about that.
Yeah, so far we had around 30 plus programs run on the platform from around 10 plus organizations. I have close to more than 2,000 startups that have either participated or applied to participate in programs run on the platform. Like we have around 300 stakeholders like mentors, experts, etc. on the platform, run and engage on the programs. So yeah, that's some of the numbers I can think of. And we also have around close to 2,200 plus founders involved in all this thing. People either as startup members or founders who have engaged as a startups, in the programs, either applying or participating as well.
So I see that the community is growing.
Yeah.
What about the customers? And I'm going to ask about the business model. What's the business model? How do they pay, and how you get money out of this startup?
So yeah, we have a monthly subscription. So that's the business model that we have. But usually what we do is we sign contracts a year or plus with some partners, to use the whole platform. So that's our business model. We have also a freemium model. You can use the platform for free and run the products, run the programs there. Of course, the functionality or the stuff you can do is much more or less compared to when you pay. But yeah, it's a freemium and subscription model. That's the basis.
So what's the focus right now in the market? Are you focused in Greece or you're looking the whole world?
So yeah, we started from Greece because we're based here. But right now our focus is mostly Greece and UK because we see a great opportunity there. The language is also English, so it's much more easier to communicate, etc. And also as a market, it's a little bit different from the rest of the Europe, much more mature, but also the mindset of the people is different. Like they have both the mindset of the people who live in Europe, the rest of the Europe, but they also have the mindset of a person who is living in the US, which has much more different mindset from the rest of the world. So it's something in between, and it seems like we much better, to start from there as a starting point and then go to other parts of Europe or the world. But yeah, we have clients, and we had in the past also clients coming from other countries like Hungary. Right now we are going to have also in Malta, Portugal as well, Morocco, like in the past, in Africa with Startup Universe especially, or other countries in Europe like Romania, etc. But yeah, our focus is these two markets right now. And of course, yeah, sometime in the future is going to be also the US, which is the largest, I guess, market in this industry.
How do you think is going to go in the UK? So have you seen big players, small players, who are willing to get this platform? Is this platform for everyone, or is it focused for small organizations?
Yeah, pretty much in the UK, there exist around 800 organizations, so there are not so many. And yeah, everyone who is running a startup program or something around that, like incubation, acceleration, pre-incubation, pre-acceleration, there are quite a lot of terms, like it matches well, to use the platform. But yeah, so far we had from big institutions like Catapult in Scotland or the Embassy of Canada in London. So yeah, big institutions, you could say governmental institutions as well. But yeah, even a non-profit that is small and operates there, or a university who runs programs, they can use the platform, and specifically it can give them a lot of value, in my opinion.
What about big corporations?
Like the big corporations, I think, in the past we didn't have so many clients in big corporations. Right now in Greece, we see much more approach on that side. But yeah, in the UK, we didn't have so much. It's much more complicated to do sales in enterprise level because you have a lot of different stakeholders that need to approve something and see something. And you need to find the right person to speak with, or you need to find a champion inside that, etc. It's much more complicated in general, the sales, but yeah, hopefully in the future we'll see much more of that also abroad, because we see right now in Greece, but abroad we didn't have the opportunity to work so much.
So you give me a nice pass to discuss about challenges. What are the main challenges that you have faced until now?
Yeah, actually a lot of things, but yeah, I think one of the main was also finding people for the team, like I think this has been one of the biggest ones, and I guess, yeah, from what we are talking also with other people who are running, and I see it like a lot, in peers, startups, etc. Like this still remains for some reason like a big issue, like finding the right people, and then I believe, all the other stuff, like if you do this right or you find the right people, like I think all the other things pretty much will fall into place, like how you do sales or how you can improve sales or how you can improve, marketing side or stuff like that, or how you can do enterprise sales or find more clients in a new country, like all the other things, like I think it will fall into place, but this is the thing that
The core.
Yeah, the core one. If you solve that, like you can do other things at least easier, or you have much more chances to solve them in a better way, let's say. But yeah, this has been, I guess, the core challenge. Like all the other things, yeah.
So you talked about chances. So let's see what chances and what are the actions or the milestones that you would like to achieve, the roadmap that we have in front of us.
Yeah, right now our main focus, as we mentioned before, like is to grow sales, to become an established player in Greece as well, because in Greece there are not so many organizations. We'd like to have pretty much everyone to use that, and there are not so many organizations, or at least half of them. So that's our main goal, and then go abroad, like in the UK, where we started also having a foothold, but expand from that. Like this is the goal, and the goal is always like to dominate markets, like to have at least 50% of the market. Because if you have that, you can do a lot of other things. Like you can ask much higher prices. You can also push the rest of the market to adopt your solution. Like this is always the goal. Like go into markets and dominate them like this. But yeah, right now we're focused, as I mentioned, in Greece and UK. That's the very first thing, and then see the rest of the Europe or see the US afterwards. Like, yeah.
Currently,
but yeah.
Founderhood is bootstrap. Are there any plans for raising any funding, or it's gonna continue being bootstrap?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think we have talked with about that a lot of times. Like we'll see. Like I don't have a clear answer. Like it always depends, on the circumstances, how things are going. Right now we are focused mostly on sales, because if sales come, pretty much it solves a lot of other problems, and you can also do, and you have much more opportunities to do a lot of other things. Like the paths become much more if you have sales. Like you can do. And good sales, like you can do fundraising, like you can continue doing the same thing, you can hire other people, like you can have much more chances and opportunities. Like if your sales are not in a good place, usually it's very difficult like to do anything. But that's the goal we like to do right now. We're focused mostly on this thing, and we don't see like other things. But yeah, it's an option like for the future, especially to expand. Open, especially to expand. Like to new markets, or raising funds. Like say, it depends also from whom, like, and who is behind. Like if you go on a VC, let's say, who doesn't have expertise or can open the network to open doors in a new country, like maybe doesn't make so much sense. We will do it only if we like to find some people, etc. But if you find a person or an organization who can fund you and is based like in another country, in a big country like UK, which is a major hub, or in the US, and they would like to give us funds and also open network, like this is a different opportunity, because there is much more strategically stuff. So this is another option.
Okay, so incubators and accelerators are mostly on the early stages of the startups. Are there any thoughts about helping or supporting VCs or other stakeholders of the ecosystem?
Yeah, exactly. This is the future that I mentioned, at the very beginning. To give a product to every innovation stakeholder. Like we are starting from programs, but in the future we'd like to have angel investors, a different product for them, a different product for VCs, for corporates as well. But yeah, the basis is to bring startups and bring incubators and accelerators, and then expand from that. And you always need to see where you can add value, to this whole chain, and how you can add value, to an angel investor without wasting their time, because usually that's what a lot of platforms that exist, in the past, and they try to do things online, etc. They missed, they waste the time of everyone involved. So that's something we're trying to solve a lot and make it expand. But right now we are helping, incubators and accelerators, to run their operations and also their community. But in the future, we would like to assist them also to expand this community, and say, okay, and offer much more stuff to their startups, like a network of investors as well. And I think we can also give back to investors something in value. Like they can see opportunities in every part of the world, and the opportunities that come, through a filter of incubators and accelerators and a lot of people in between. So that's what we like to offer them.
So how do you see the early stage ecosystem?
In Greece, or
if you can start in Greece, and we can talk about the global, perspective and what you see. I mean, how this ecosystem has changed or is changing right now?
Yeah, right now I think over the years, of course the number of the startups has grown, and you see much more maturity in a lot of places that didn't exist many years ago. Right now you see great companies coming from very young people, a lot of them, or people who spend 6 months and they build something very big. There weren't a lot of cases like that, in the past. Right now, literally in 6 months, you can build something amazing. I think I showed Cursor and how big it has become, and how fast it reached 100 million and stuff like that. Literally in months, you can do something very big right now, and that didn't exist before. It took you years, or you usually find people who just had ideas, they didn't build anything. So you see a lot of maturity, in the early stage, and of course the number of the people is much bigger. And right now I see also in the early stage, to be playing much more important role than it used to be in the past because of this maturity. And you see a lot of VCs, big VCs, big names like Andreessen, etc., who are now paying much more attention in the early stage. And they like to abandon the old strategy of I will invest, in a startup when it's on Series A or afterwards. They would like to go very early and invest in pre-seed round for a startup and then follow up until IPO. So they find if they found a few companies like that and they go from the very beginning until the end, they can make much more money instead of just focusing on Series A and above or stuff like that. So seeing also other people, paying much more attention in the early stage. But the thing is that a lot of people who are around that, a lot of organizations, incubators and accelerators, the tools that they use, they are pretty much from a different decade. They use swords and shields when you have, tanks and air carriers. They haven't also followed up, the rapid expansion and the needs of the startups as well, and the maturity of the whole ecosystem in the early stage.
We see some champions that lead that market and do things on that.
Yeah, Y Combinator, if you see this organization or Techstars and how they do stuff, how they operate, how they think, and all the tools they have built inside. All these organizations, they have internal teams, especially for the software part, to build software specifically for their community, to connect each other, to connect them with their partners, with investors. And they pay a lot of attention to that kind of stuff. Or they have a whole team on the technical side to help them, get data from the application part or which applications they need to prioritize and stuff like that. So they use a lot of technology which exists right now, and they can do a lot of this stuff. But the rest of the programs or the rest of the world, in a big percentage, they live like things we're doing like 50 years ago when all these things were very mature. And it's not what also the startups expect when they go into a program. Like their expectations, they have right now from program, because the competition is so much and the maturity has risen a lot. Like they expect much more stuff. Like they expect the programs and the people who are on the early stage, to help them find more clients as well, find people for their team, and also find investors both in their country and abroad. All this stuff. And like the programs, they don't have all these resources to do that right now, and they need to, in my opinion, they need to find the tools that can help them and get much more time back to focus on the startups and focus, on the value they add to the startups instead of spending in other places, and also find tools that can help them build the community, assist the startups in other ways, assist the startups to find clients and find also people for their teams, etc., in other ways, not only mentoring and having sessions, etc., which you can find online, in many cases right now. And you couldn't find them in the past, but right now there is a lot of resource online. Like you can open YouTube and find hundreds of videos. Like right now in Startup Greece Talks, or you can find videos from Y Combinator, etc. So, yeah.
Do you think that AI can or is accelerating the number of startups and the number of solutions that are bringing into life? Or you think that AI gonna do the opposite? And what about the existing tools? Are they gonna play, or are we gonna see VCs to enter? Some of them, they say we don't need any gatekeepers. So what do you think? Do they need the ecosystem, or are they gonna operate standalone without incubators, accelerators?
It depends. What they say from what they do actually is very different, because they might say like they don't like to play with other stakeholders, etc., but they are also paying attention to everything that's happening. Like they are paying attention to every incubator, every accelerator, all the startups that are coming from that. They are also, work together with angel investors who invest, much more earlier than them. So they are working because, it's an ecosystem, as the word says. You have to play with other players. So I don't see them. And, if you see also the big brands like Adrisen or Accel or all these big things that are coming, from abroad, which is something that I don't see in Greece, but it's happening a lot in the US or in these mature innovation hubs, is that they play together. Like when a VC invests, they say, okay, you should go also to the other VC, which is a competitor supposedly, because if we both the VCs try to help you as a startup, you will grow much faster. So we'll learn much more. Because we'll have a percentage which will be smaller in something bigger. So they play like that. So if you see the forward-thinking players in the global ecosystem, like they play like that. And I believe this is the strategy to go. Of course, not all people see that, but I think they will be forced, or you will see that, or these are going to be the people that they will win. That they're already winning, and they're going to win also in the future.
So what about the number of startups?
We are going to see that growing in the future with AI, or that's a good question. Like I'm not so much familiar with what's going to happen with startups and AI and stuff, but if I could get an educated guess, is that the thing that is missing is not so much technology stuff, or I don't know, something around that. Like the thing that's missing is people. Like it comes back to that, and it's missing, people who can do stuff and they like to build things and they want to solve problems and they want to dedicate, a lot of time, to build that. And this, I think, it's missing, and it's missing right now. The thing that doesn't scale, I would say. The technology, you will always have new stuff or coming on, Yeah, like, I remember, like, when I started, 50 years ago, like, even to build a small Android app or things like that, like, it was very hard. Right now, you have software that can do that 10 times better and 100 times faster. But you didn't show that, the numbers of them growing so much. Like, it always comes back to the basics, like the people and, people who can find also problems as well to solve them. Like, this is
the main thing.
Yeah, it comes back to people always. And if you can scale that thing, or if you can push much more people to follow that path instead of doing, going into corporates or doing other things, like, this is always a big thing. And I believe it's going to play a much more important role how the whole economy is going to grow. Not AI, but the economy, because if the economy usually is going good, everyone wants to go to good jobs, like find a good job, it's quite easy. So why to go and start something and pay so much attention? Only the very ambitious people or the people who, they like to make much more money, or they find a way, or they want to build something, they're going to join that. But yeah, usually when the economy doesn't go that, you are forced to think about other ways and do other stuff.
So we're right now in this time, kind of.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not quite sure. Like, we'll see how it will play out. I'm not an expert, in global economy, but yeah, usually that thing might play much more important role, in having much more people going into startups instead of going to a corporate or things like that, rather than technology so much. Technology, yeah, there are shifts. A lot of people are going to see as an opportunity and dive into that, but still the people, you cannot scale them. That's the thing.
That's awesome. So in order to, let's say, to wrap up, share us the vision of Founderhood. And yeah.
So, yeah, the vision, as I mentioned in the very beginning, is to build a global innovation ecosystem. The thing that literally imagine is that we are based in Greece, we have a lot of cities beside Athens, like Xanthi, for example. Like, I will give you a very specific example of what I imagine. Like, we had a client which was the program, the Think Trace, the incubation program of the university in Xanthi, like a city which is very far away from every big hub, is based close to the borders of Bulgaria and Turkey, like a very small city which has a great university though. And, imagine being there, and we had there on the program, they participated, 2 startups that had to do with biotech. And imagine, doing biotech in Xanthi, in a very, very small city, very far away, from every big hub, like in a country which doesn't have a very big sector around biotech and stuff like that. Is what are their chances, to do something and grow? Like, even if they had the greatest idea, even if they had the greatest team, even if they could solve, a very important problem, like something, with cancer or something like that, like, what's their opportunity, to build it that, like, their opportunity, their chances are very small. And, it's how you can do that 100 times, how you can increase that chance 100 times. Because, yeah, starting a company and growing, like, you already have very few chances, like, all the things are against you, how you can increase that and make the place you are starting, playing less important role in growing that, and how you can help them, like, let's say this specific example, these startups in biotech in Xanthi, how you can connect them with an angel investor who is based most probably in Boston, which is the biggest hub in the world, around biotech, and has, a great network around the biotech sector. How you can increase their chances, to succeed, or how you can connect them afterwards with VC, which specialize in biotech companies, and they have only biotech companies in their portfolio. How you can increase their chances to succeed. So that's the goal. Of course, not everyone is going to win or make big companies, but you can increase, especially the good teams, their chances to succeed by 100 times. Like, this is the vision.
Okay, and the last, let's say, statement, I'd like you to tell us your favorite quote.
My favorite quote, like, yeah, I used to be in an organization in the past, and we had one thing where we said, okay, think big, but start small, and most important, start now. Like this is it. So I will keep that. Think big, but start small and start now. Like this are the two things. I guess is great with the audience also that Startup Greece has.
Awesome. I would like to thank you. And
thank you, Thanos.
I'm wishing us the best. So, thank you all of you, and see you.
Thank you.